Mm-hmm.
Hi, Joe. It's Diane Garrett here. It's nice to see
Hey,
you.
Dan.
Um,
Good to see you too.
Thank you. To get us introduced, tell us your role with the Forge and how you came to be associated with that organization. And I'll introduce myself after you.
Yeah, okay. So I'm the executive director of Forge Greensboro. It's a downtown makerspace. I started as a member there. I was making backpacking hammocks, and I was eager to tinker around with a lot of the different tools they had there, including the sewing and textiles equipment to make the hammocks. But then I had this problem where I can't say no to cool things, and I kept saying yes and yes and volunteering, and I blacked out somewhere and woke up with a lot more responsibility.
Cool. Well, I'm Diane Garrett. I'm a professor at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro, and I'm looking forward to our engagement for this fall. We're working together on an innovation need for you with the MKT, the Marketing Communication students. So, oh yes, congratulations on your degree and your recent graduation. How did you celebrate?
Thank you so much. Yeah.
How did
I had a group of friends come out to the local co-working space, and we had one of my favorite local bands come out and play, called Sun Queen Kelsey and the Solar Flares. And I gave a speech. There was clapping, but it was a good. That's how I celebrated with that. And then the next day I went fishing. So.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah.
That's terrific.
It was a good balanced weekend for me.
Very nice. Okay, so let's learn a little bit more about what it is we're going to do together. This project is for the marketing students in the business communication course, and it is our engagement with you for a hands-on project with the students. Their goal is to experience innovation and offer you something for your business need. So tell our students what it is the Forge does, describe the organization, and how it serves the community.
Yeah, so it's on the surface, it's really simple. It's like a gym for people who like to build things. So people pay month to month, they get 24/7 access to the space, and they use it how they will. And that access includes a full metal shop with welding equipment, machining equipment, a wood shop with the whole woodworking suite, including a 4-foot by 8-foot CNC router. That's a computer-controlled router. And we have laser engravers, 3D printers, textiles equipment, which was my initial interest before I started getting distracted by all the other tools. And then we have ceramics equipment, a pottery area. And so on the surface, we're that gym for people like to build things. Subsurface, we are a community. We're attracting people so they interact with each other and start businesses, create new ideas. There's a lot of people there who prototype and invent things or develop small-scale manufacturing businesses. And that sort of segues into what we would be doing with this program. We've started to teach people how to use the tools inside the space, specific populations that are within our zip code. So other nonprofits like the Interactive Resource Center and Goodwill, who help people get on their feet and get new careers. So we've started a couple of educational programs which are fairly new for us, and we're trying to segue them into more innovative ways to engage these populations into the workforce.
Awesome. How long have you been in existence?
We have been an organization for 5 years. We started in a 3,400 square foot space. We're now in it's almost an 8,000 square foot space right around the corner. We moved there 2 years ago now. Well, actually going on 3 years now. So still relatively young, and we've grown pretty quickly in that time. But 200 members are included in that space.
Oh, very nice. And you're located downtown Greensboro.
Yep.
Tell us about your audience. Who are the stakeholders that are connected with you, and how are they connected with you?
Well, our core program membership, the stakeholders are generally people who are hobbyists who want to affordably engage in a hobby. That's about half of our membership. And then the other half is split up into two areas: those who are seeking to be entrepreneurial, and those who are looking for new job skills. Say they are tired of their job and they want to switch careers, or they would like to earn a higher income, so they're trying out careers like welding or woodworking or CNC operation or electronics. And before they commit to a long, like say, degree program at GTCC or an engineering program at A&T, they come by and tinker around at the space. This specific program, or this, what we would be collaborating on, would be dealing with stakeholders coming from low income areas, or below living wage areas, people who may have just experienced homelessness or in danger of experiencing homelessness. So they're looking for ways to answer this employment question relatively quickly.
Awesome. So am I hearing that you offer training programs?
We do. Yep. So they're more like boot camp. We're calling them skills boot camps, where you go through and you learn the basics of how to use an equipment to a general efficiency. We're not training like fine, skilled, welders. There's just some experience you can't get around. It takes years of practice to become really skilled at really anything. But we've started training programs that give people the tools to make what we call intelligent mistakes, where they're not hurting themselves, they're not breaking the equipment, and they're able to do some basic functions.
Very nice. I'm going to pause a minute and just describe what I saw when I visited your organization, so that students can help imagine what it is we're talking about.
Okay.
Students, when I walked in the door, it was a large open room, and there were areas specific to specific tasks. There was one room that was a sewing room. There was one room that was a woodworking room. There was one room that was a welding room. There looked like two areas for educational services. There was one area of storage. There was a computer, what do you call that, Joe? A computer-aided, that equipment?
Oh, yeah, CNC machine?
Yes.
Yep.
And that's for, I can't even get the words out, making computers, the computer makes the product?
Yeah. So you spend more time on developing the three-dimensional model, and then and then the computer tells the machine what tool paths it needs to do to create that three-dimensional model.
Awesome. Okay, and looking to the right, there was a pottery section, I recall, and there was a great big machine. What was that great big machine on the wall?
You mean the laser cutter, laser engraver?
It was really long, really big, kind of in the center on the right.
Oh yeah, by the pottery area?
Uh-huh.
Yep, that was one of the it's a laser cutter, laser engraver, which is an example of a CNC machine.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, fabulous. Okay, so for our students to engage with you, to have a hands-on project, working the design thinking process and innovation, describe for us how our students can engage with you. Now, I'll cut it short and say in talking with you, with Cheryl Nakata, Dr. Nakata, we came up with the plan that our students would offer you a product and a marketing understanding of the viability of that product. So can you expand on all that? What is your great vision for our working together?
Yeah, so we already have these training programs where these people are learning how to make. We use project-based learning, where you're making something fun that you can take home with you. And so the idea here is that we expand that for these folks who are looking to transition into bigger careers in making products that they can sell. So if they learn how to do a basic skill at the forge, they can then start making these products and then sell say on an internet marketplace like Etsy or like eBay, in order to earn some revenue for them to help them, bridge that gap between their transitional job. What's the next step for them? So what I'm looking for out of this relationship is, what is that product? We can make all sorts of cool things, but it might only be interesting for 1 to 2 people to purchase those things. We're looking for is, a market that would find a particular product interesting, something that we can teach somebody how to make, in a relatively short time. So nothing very complicated. We're probably not, building drones from scratch or something like that, but something that has a market. And then a marketing message or marketing narrative around that process, so that people, the buyer, when they're buying that product, they're not just buying, a simple trinket. They're also buying into these people improving their lives, making efforts in improving their livelihood.
Awesome. Can you think of a story right off the top of your mind of a success story where a product has been invented and with the Forge and brought forward?
Yeah, well, there's a number of them. So probably one of the most random projects I've had was a gentleman came in who had been a dentist for his whole life. He was a senior citizen, and he was also he played the tuba. I guess it's called a tubist. But he always had to, as a dentist, he always had to fix people's teeth, who would come in and had been playing, wood instruments, and you practice a lot. It applies a lot of pressure onto your teeth if you do it correctly, and it actually starts causing dental issues. It starts causing your teeth to form outward. So he had developed a product that would allow you to strengthen the muscles in your mouth without having to play the instrument, so you can strengthen the muscles around your mouth and prevent that from happening. So I never thought there was a need for that, and I thought it was a really interesting crossover with a dentist who was also playing instruments, who found that he was fixing musicians' teeth in this way. And that was probably the most interesting invention we had in the space. Most recently, we had a member come in. So this is a pretty broad spectrum. We had a member come in who was making a particle detector, which may not apply to this class, but it was just a really cool project where he was CNC machining out the assembly to develop a particle detector to detect neutrinos. But maybe some things that are more applicable to this class. We have a member who had developed a 3D printer enclosure, which helps enclose and protect the temperature of a 3D printer while it's while it's manufacturing its product. It also helps filter the air, and that has become very popular. He's grown a pretty successful business, providing a service, providing a product that really wasn't on the market beforehand, and he's now shipping these products around the country, and he's hiring members at the Forge to produce this small scale manufacturing demand that he's seen. And then we have a lot of other members who make personalized laser engraved plaques or personalized custom parts for say motorcycles, and they do custom small scale runs for all sorts of products. But I think the most activity happens in sort of the artisan space, where people are looking for laser cut personalized items, say name plaques for weddings and that sort of thing.
Okay, awesome. It sounds like you have some great success stories there.
Yeah. It's it's pretty broad. It's hard to I could continue rambling on. It's hard to narrow it down to what may be applicable to this, but there's everywhere from people building robots inside the space, to people just cutting out, plaques for, name tags for weddings, that sort of thing.
One of the ways we describe success for the students is the product needs to be feasible, viable, and I'm losing it, and desirable.
Right.
Those are 3 parameters that we give them. So for you, how do we stay in that arena? Do you have some constraints that are going to be important for our students to know?
Well, looking at the people who are making the product. So when I spoke with you past couple of weeks, we mentioned that the population that we're serving could also be considered a consumer or a stakeholder customer in this process. They have some time limitations where they need to learn how to make this product relatively quickly and use it to develop their skills. So keeping the complexity of the product down I think would be a constraint. So an example would be if they're learning how to weld something, if the product requires welding, that it doesn't require very complicated welds or welds that make you have to learn new processes, sticking with some basic skill sets. I think that would be the major constraint. And then something that's repeatable.
Oh, very nice. So just to articulate the vision, so our students are going to do some investigation with the market and come up and experience the Forge by hopefully coming to visit, and we'll talk about that in a moment, and come up with a product and a market for you. And in this, if an idea is very successful for you, your plan is to develop a training program around that, so that you can not only build revenue and skills of the people that attend a training program, but also that it might bring some revenue into your organization through grants or selling them revenue. Is that right?
Yeah. So the Forge would be using this as a training program for the individuals in the boot camp, and also as a way for them to gather some work experience. So we can go to an employer who, I'm just going to stick with the welding because we've done a lot of classes in welding, and I can go to an employer who needs welders and say, hey, this person has shown up and made X amount of products. They've been really enthusiastic about this. They've learned a lot about welding. They'd be a prime candidate for your apprentice program, or to become a trainee, a paid trainee at your facility. So it's really a transitional model, and then we would be seeking grants to help support the trainee aspects and support us running it within the facility, and then we'd want the sales of those products to go to the person who made them. So they're incentivized to make the products. They can use that as a means to pay some of the bills they may have as they're looking for another job. So the end goal here is that they're able to find work beyond making this product. Find work at one of the local company.
Very nice. Is there any cost, financial aspects, resources that they need to consider when they're working with the product ideas?
There will be material costs, and material availability. You probably want to stick with, material costs and material availability. You don't want to have something too exotic. So say if the product idea was around jewelry, we can braze and solder jewelry inside the space. Maybe don't want to be selling diamonds. It'd be hard to get those in and then process them. Also, the size of the product should probably be on the smaller end. So we don't have a lot of space for inventory to store large bits of raw material or large bits of finished product inside of our space. As we're trying to hopefully we can keep this as lean the manufacturing process as possible, so people are purchasing things, they're made and then sent out. But there's probably going to be some needed areas for storage, and we don't have a lot of space for that. So if the product can be kept small and the needs for materials can be kept small, that would be helpful.
Okay, fabulous. Well, as we wind it down, tell me what success would look like. When a student proposal comes in and you go, wow, that's awesome. What might that look like for you?
Well, it would be something, it'd be a product where I'd want to buy it, and that I could picture myself. I can use a lot of the equipment inside the area to a basic level of proficiency, but I'm by no means an expert. You know, I know a little about a lot and a lot about very little. So if I could see myself learning how to make that product, say within a month's time, then I would consider that like something that I wanted to buy and something that I could see myself able to make. And I could see that as a success because I could figure out a way, I could see a way to develop a training program around it. Where the complexity level is low enough to where I can really teach, or I can have my instructors really teach some core concepts in manufacturing and product making. And of course, if it's successful, I want to buy the product myself.
Yeah,
because I like to have things and hold on to it and brag about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. Well, any final comments that you want to add?
Well, maybe my degree is in social entrepreneurship. As a UNCG graduate, I'm really interested in how being good can be good business. So I'm really curious, and I'm really excited actually about this, the marketing aspect of it, because there's a lot of value that can be built in storytelling, and people, I think a beauty of the way our economy works is you can vote for good things with your dollar by choosing what you buy, by choosing where you buy. And marketing is a big part of how consumers dictate where they put their dollars and where they vote with their dollars. So I'm really excited about that portion.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to engaging with you for the fall and our students as well. Oh, we do need to mention the tours.
Right.
Yes, we have a certain time period set. I will send that out for the students that we have talked about. I don't have it in my mind. But you have generously opened up your time so they can schedule with you on the website and come visit. Right? Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it is, I'm a little biased here, but I think it is important to visit the space. It really helps you wrap your mind around how the space works and what the space is capable of.
Yes. Thank you for offering that and giving our students that opportunity.
Absolutely.
And the opportunity of the business need. Thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.